What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Biblical Hitman. It's your host, Steven. I'm here with Taylor. Taylor is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We got Travis Carpenter as well. T-Cart, my man, what's going on? We got Kyle. Kyle with the Word at War. What is up, brother? We got Ben with End of the World News podcast. And we got Bennett, Broadcasting Seeds. We got Doc Brown, host of the Prometheus Lens podcast. And what a turnout it is, gentlemen. This is going to be a lot of fun, but it's under the circumstances of why we're all gathered here today is something very sad. It's a tragic event that has happened in the past 48 hours. And I just felt the need and the want to really get a bunch of Christian brothers onto the panel and talk about what has taken place before us. And so, but real quick, prayers and thoughts and empathy goes out to Charlie Kirk, goes out to his family, goes out to the people that were there in Utah that day, and just more and more. I can't really say it all, right? But this episode, we're gonna cover a little bit of our emotions. We're gonna cover our political thoughts, and we're just gonna, wing it. And this is an area where we're all facing some sort of trauma after this event. And we're in the similar space that Charlie was in as well. We all are content creators and we're all out there speaking for the kingdom of God with whatever it is that we're doing. And it could have been any one of us. And Charlie was unfortunate to, succumb to the things that happened. So prayers and thoughts go out to him. But folks, if it's your first time and you want to support the show, it's free. You can support all of our shows as well. Everything is going to be linked in the description below. The best way to support us is just hitting that subscribe button, liking the show, share it with your friends. And, you can check us out on audio platforms as well, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. But how I'm going to roll out with this, guys, is we'll just go around in clockwise formation and just please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and where they can find your work. So, Travis, go ahead, my brother.
Hey guys, my name's Travis Carpenter. I go by T-Carp on all the interwebs. You can find me at if you Google T-Carp, you can find me. Most people know my father, Scott Carpenter, from his work at the Sasquatch Awareness Project. My main focus is stuff that Doc Brown and Casting Seeds and Steven and like all y'all do. It morphed from Bigfoot into Nephilim talk. But my T-Carp channel, that's actually more related to prepping and guns and knives and things like that. And I actually I went away from that for a little bit, and because maybe I thought, just jumping right in, I thought that that was almost unnecessary. Like, I still believe prepping was necessary, but maybe the tactical stuff wasn't as necessary as I once believed. That day, unfortunately, has passed, and I have realized that I was naive, maybe lulled to sleep a little bit by the lack of feeling of threat. But today, that has awakened quite a bit as of lately. But that's who I am.
All right, Kyle, let's start with you.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here, man. I appreciate it. So, yeah, guys, my name's Kyle Milhall, and I run The Word at War. You actually can find out everything you need to know about the show at thewordatwarmedia.com. I'm out there on video. I'm out there on audio, YouTube, Rumble for video, and then audio. You can check it out pretty much everywhere, Spotify, Apple, of course, and pretty much anywhere you like to listen. So, yeah, just glad to be here. I started this journey about 2 years ago. I had a co-host originally, but here recently transitioned over to it just being myself, rebranded the show, but kept my audience, which has been awesome. They've been awesome. And ultimately, I got doing this after, like I said, 2 years at my previous employer. They started pushing ideologies that I was not comfortable with, including, pushing stuff towards kids, and I wasn't down. So I just felt the Lord lead me out of that, and I've been doing this ever since. So I'm looking forward to a good discussion tonight, but obviously heavy topic. So thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Always Ben, my brother.
How you doing? I'm Ben Baumgarten from End of the World News. You can catch me on Instagram, BitChute, and on X sometimes, but Instagram and BitChute are my main ones, and across all social media audio platforms. And a little bit about myself: I was a lost soul, steep in sin, and about 4 or 5 years ago, I was saved by God's grace. He healed me and completed me and did everything. And at that time, I was going into conspiracies, getting into conspiracies. And then once I eventually read the Bible, it put all the conspiracies that I was learning into perspective. And it gave me a lens to filter them through. And if you do conspiracy right, eventually that leads to the Bible, that leads to salvation. So my goal with my podcast is to look at the world events through a biblical lens, try to make sense of it, and not fall to the trap of Satan and these fallen gods to act, because they want us to act anti-Christ, right? They want us to act not like Christ. And there's really a spiritual war going on in a dimension that we cannot see that's manifesting our reality. So I like to just talk about that and stay rooted in God.
Love it, man.
Awesome.
Bennett, my bro. Oh, you're muted. It's his first time, ladies and gentlemen.
Always my first time. First time every time, baby. So, Bennett Tanton, I am the host of the Broadcasting Seeds podcast. You can find me at broadcastingseeds.com or wherever podcasts, play, wherever you listen. YouTube, all the places. My background is I was Docovy. I was a Fed. I worked for the federal government for a long time. So everything from the military to the Veterans Administration. I've also was a law enforcement officer for a while, and then I was in the security contracting business for years. And then I just got to a point where I couldn't carry a gun for a living anymore. And now I am a entrepreneur / solutions engineer. That's what I'll call myself. Right. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Right on. Doc Brown, my brother from the mountains.
Yeah, man. Thank you for getting this together. These are guys, we all run around the same circles and been doing this about the same amount of time. And so I think this is going to be a really good conversation, man. But yeah, Doc Brown, Prometheus Lens podcast, anywhere you can consume content, you can find me. Just search the name. Same thing with the social medias, all those fine establishments. And I published my first book this year, The Epic of Esau, The Birthright and Seed War. It's on Amazon. $10 for audio, 20 for hard copy, or you can go to my website and get an autographed copy with some stickers and all that cool stuff. But yeah, as far as me, good old Southern Baptist boy, born and raised in the church since I was 5 or 6 years old, big history and Bible nerd. Of course, we all have our rebellious stages, but I came back to the Lord in my mid-20s and discovered people like Trey Smith, L.A. Marzulli, and so many of these great guys that just opened me up, man. I tell people it's like Aladdin, it's like a whole new world. And it just lit this fire, man, that I can't quench. So that's what's got me here.
That's beautiful, Justin.
Right on. That was a good voice, man.
Whole new
instead of writing your next book, you need to write, an album. Let's go.
Justin's got a really good looking website too. Y'all should check it out.
Yes, PrometheusLensPodcast.com. Kyle just gave it a facelift for me just a few months ago.
Yeah, Kyle does great work, by the way. It is really cool, man. It looks so user-friendly, almost like how Apple products are just super like user-friendly, and it just people gravitate towards it. I don't know if there's any Android users in here, but you're just crazy weird. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
I secretly don't like you. And you shut your mouth, Taylor. No, I'm just kidding. I'll shut up. All right. So
if they could run Linux for their phones, they would.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I love it.
So I guess I'll just kind of tell my little story of how I came across the news that took place. I come home. I forget exactly what I was doing. I'm always running around crazy. Taylor hit me up. He goes, "Hey, did you see what happened on the news?" And he's one of the guys that sends out a text, but then calls you right after, like immediately. So I'm like, this is kind of
Guilty.
serious. And and he was explaining to me what happened, and he sent me the video, and I saw the video, and it was just, and I'm a medic. I see a lot of crazy things. I'm desensitized to a lot of things that people would react to in a certain way. I just don't. I'm kind of just dead to it in some way, shape, or form. Unless it happens to my family, then I start freaking out. It's really weird. But I saw the video what happened to Charlie, and it was so traumatizing to me. Like I got a sick feeling in my stomach. At first, I thought it was artificial intelligence. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was some sort of huge psyop, right? Because of the world we live in, we're adjusting to what is real and what's not real. We're cross-examining everything and all that kind of stuff. But just the deception seems to be, at a high takeover point in our generation. So I saw that and I just couldn't believe what happened, man. I felt so bad. And I know, Travis, man, you don't have that much time with us, man. So just what are your thoughts on the whole situation? And what's the story?
Yeah.
How did you find out about it?
So what was happening is I was out at my property doing some work, and I get a text, and I don't really pay much attention to it. No big deal. And sometimes I will look at a text and it's like, oh, okay, someone sent me a Twitter thing, no big deal. I'll just heart it and I'll go back later. I went back about 10 minutes later, looked at it, and I mean, just horrified, to say the least. And then immediately after I watched it, my wife sent me a text, and I think a few other people did. And I started getting on X, and watching it. And when I first saw it, I was immediately, I've deer hunted, Doc. Anybody that's deer hunted, when they see that and they see that amount of blood,
Yeah, it's
um,
over.
that's that's a death sentence immediately. And seeing it, you almost want to believe it's AI, but knowing what I know about uh, calibers, knowing what I know about, dispatching animals and all that was 100% real. And then to see his, I don't want to get too graphic with folks, but Stephen, you being a paramedic, once you lose that much blood instantaneously, you saw his brain lose all bit of oxygen, and he was I believe he died instantaneously. Now they say that he had a pulse, whatnot, and no, he was gone immediately, in my humble opinion. Now, now they're saying that there's a lot of rumors out there. Okay, so everybody, the rumor is it's a 30-06 Mauser thing from the roof. Now, this is completely Travis's opinion, and that's all it is. From the first time that I saw it, is I did not hear that supersonic rifle crack. So when a bullet travels and it hits supersonic speeds, it breaks the sound barrier, and there's like a pow to it. I didn't hear that in the video. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I didn't hear it. And with a rifle, there's a lot of energy, especially a 30-06. There is a ton of energy, a ton of energy. If it was a 30-06 and it did in fact hit his neck, I believe you would have seen a ton more damage, like an explosion of that. I believe it. I believe it was a small caliber pistol, a 380, a 9mm, from 20 to 30 yards away. They aimed at his head, missed, and hit him in the neck. That is my personal opinion from my knowledge of what I know. Now, again, I'm willing to be 100% wrong, but that's just me watching it, looking at it. That's my first thoughts there. And now, with that being said, I think the days of open air conversations are over. You'll never see another candidate or campaign person do an open air conversation. I actually have tickets to the Hardy concert down in Atlanta. That's open air concert. Not going. Just not going to put myself in that situation. And people may say one thing or another. I think it's just very unwise to put yourself in a situation right now, in the next couple months, to where you're not able to maybe defend yourself. My advice to folks right now is to, if you can carry. If you can legally carry. Learn how to use a firearm, learn how to protect yourself, learn how to protect your family, because there are, and I don't want to get right or left with this, so I'm not going to, because I believe they're two sides of the same bird, to be honest with you. But there are some people that take things so seriously and hate you so much that they will stop at nothing to silence you, and we saw that today with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and please, guys, round table talk. Whoever wants to jump in, whatever. I mean, it was a crazy event when I saw it hit him. When I saw his shirt, fly in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
I was like, this thing hit him hard.
Yeah,
and you could see the posturing happen immediately after it took place. So I knew I knew it took out his spine. And it looked like it almost ricocheted off his spine, if it was possible. It looked like it hit him in the carotid. As a medic, there's nothing you can do other than shove hemostat gauze down in there. Maybe put a chest seal over it. You can't tourniquet the neck, right? It's funny, we joke around with that in medics, with the young medics a little bit. It's like telling in baseball, you're like, hey, go get the curveballs in the dugout or something. They start looking for curveballs, and there's no such thing. It's just a joke.
I mean, a lot of people try to figure out like ballistics, and there's only so much you can see from video, right? Bottom line is, though, as soon as I saw his neck erupt, I knew it was done. So I saw that part of the video before it was announced that he was dead, and I was already telling my kids that he had passed. Because there's no way you're not coming back from it. I've been in front of that. I've seen it plenty, which is horrible. And that is just not something that you don't stabilize that.
Yeah, you're going to bleed out
really fast.
I mean, really fast, probably with 10 minutes being the best case scenario. But looking at that, I instantly knew there was no coming back from that as well.
No, and just the way that his security detail was carrying him.
It was terrible. I'm like, dude, I work security. So I'm like, you are never supposed to carry him. You're supposed to put him on his freaking back so he doesn't lose more blood. And it's just
there's just no way. He was already, So
Taylor,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Travis.
I was gonna ask Taylor. You work security. Just seeing that, do you think that was a high caliber rifle, or do you think that was a pistol, or am I completely just off base?
It's funny because when I called Steven, bro, I was like, I couldn't tell. It didn't sound high caliber just because I know the phones have a certain audio limit. That's what he was telling me too. But it was hard to tell. I'm not gonna lie. The sound was off. Everything was off about it. And at first I thought it was AI too. And I'm like, but I'm like, this is definitely, I don't think it was someone who was just Joe Schmo just shooting around trying to get him killed. I think it was a highly trained professional who knew what he was doing, who was trying to shoot that exact shot to get a high shock value, to get psychological warfare on the people who saw it. It was about sending a message. And he did it, think about it, he did it in the throat. They're trying to send a message. If you speak about truth, you're going to get shot. And who do they do that all throughout history? They've been doing it forever, even Jesus, the system killed Jesus when he spoke about truth. So it's just, but he rose again on the third day. But, it's wild. If you speak up for truth, you will be taken out. I think that's the message they're trying to send. And obviously the elites hate anything having to do with God. And he spoke often of God and that, Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven. And they don't like that. And they don't like the facts that they can't twist the narratives of things. And, some news media were telling him, outright, "Oh, we think it's one of the people at the event. They just got too excited and shot the gun." That pissed me off so bad.
That was MSNBC.
Yeah,
they
I'm
had
like,
to retract that. That guy got fired too, by the way.
Good, as he should, because they are just baiting. They're trying to cause a race war. They're trying to cause political war. They're trying to cause civil unrest with all this stuff. Like, whoever took that shot knew dang well what he was doing, and they're trying to further that agenda, I think.
That's what I thought when I first seen it too, Travis. When I seen it, I was like, that entry wound, and I mean, if that was a high-powered rifle, it would have went in small and come out big. It'd have tore the whole side of his neck out at that angle.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where, like, what angle it actually entered. You know what I'm saying? Because like the first video that I saw was so far away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And literally you could hear the rifle or whatever, the gunshot, and it was not. It seemed like it was off to the right, but you know, it's all video. Can't.
Yeah.
So us trying to figure that out is like, you know,
something else I noticed, like, unless they had a special type of bullet, I thought about that too. You know, or honestly, it kind of looks like FMJ. To be honest, because it doesn't look like a hollow point, like kind of.
Well, yeah. So
like
that's one of the things is, I'll tell you what I think. Here's what I think. I'll tell you my exact. I think it's like a Remington 700 308, like a just a regular hunting rifle.
Yeah,
right. Not a 30-06, a 30-06
action maybe.
Yeah, bolt
blowing
action.
His head off.
Well, the 30-06 would have tore his head off.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's
what a 308 would not.
So far,
exactly.
Sorry. So far, what they said that they have found actually when the guy fled, because they came out today. I was kind of keeping track, you know, throughout the day, and they said the guy actually, they have a path. They have some footage. They released a picture of the guy. They think the guy is a suspect.
Yeah. And
he dropped the rifle in the woods. Now there's a little bit to this, but it was a bolt action hunting rifle. You know, and obviously when you have a high-powered round, like I do believe it was a high-powered round. I think it was up from a higher trajectory. I think he was on the roof where they said that he was. I think all of that is accurate. What I question is, and what I'm just watching closely, is who. And some of the information that's come out around the circumstances is what I'm paying really close attention to, much to the point of division that Taylor was talking about. And one of the reasons I think, I'll get to that here in a second, but one of the reasons I think it was a high-powered rifle round is, again, you know, deer hunting. Anybody that's been hunting, you're going to sight your rifle in, you're going to spend time on a range. And if you are trying to kill a human being, first thing you do, they teach you, is you aim center mass.
Right.
And from a higher trajectory, when you aim center mass, you actually need to aim a little bit lower. Because you will not have the drop on the round that you will normally have. So if someone that is not prepared for that is a little bit less trained, and they aim center mass, when they pull the trigger, the round is going to travel upwards, and that's more than likely why you got hit in the neck.
That makes sense.
Right. It's always doing two in the chest, one in the head. That's always
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is exactly what you're saying, Kyle.
The other thing too was, sorry, man, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're good, man.
When you're nervous like that, because you're going to be juiced, right? You're going to be thumping out of your mind, no matter what the circumstances are. When you pull the trigger, you know, when you squeeze, and because you should squeeze, not yank the trigger, but you tend to lift up and to the right if you're right-handed. That's just kind of the way it goes. And so all of that kind of combined together, and having shot rifles for years, I've got multiple bolt actions in the house. You know, I just shouldn't have said that, but is what it is.
You're good.
Hey, that's why we're recording ahead of time. Yeah, right. So they can come get them. They can have the lead, but not the guns. So
right.
I'm glad we're recording this ahead of
friend.
time.
Wow, man.
Careful editing around that one.
Like, what do I write down? What's the key?
Going hard in the paint over here, man.
Yeah, right. But what they said that the cartridge was still in the rifle, because the person just got it and ran because he saw he had a kill shot, and there's no sense firing again. And with a bolt action, you're going to have to cycle it. It gets all messy. You're off target. You need to get out of there. But they said that on the rounds and on the rifle itself, there were multiple things written that had transgender ideology. I find that extremely convenient.
Right.
That same. I saw that on Louder with Crowder, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, man, That just sounds like they're just trying to stir up something.
Yeah, they're a
Or,
fall guy.
or he's copycatting the guy in the Catholic shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. It's very, but Kyle's right. It's just extremely convenient.
is.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Do your thing.
It's
No,
a
you're
flag.
fine, man.
It's a flag for sure.
Or it's our the higher ups trying to cause the left and the right have a war. That's what I think.
Go ahead and speed it up. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I think we live in a world of ops, bots, and psyops, and these powers, principalities, and worldly governors. They use high impact events to manifest the reality that they want. And unfortunately, I think they're manifesting the fulfillment of Ezekiel 38 and 39. I generally don't listen to or pay attention too much to what the talking heads have to say.
Mm-hmm.
To the extent where I listen to them, I listen to what they have to say because that was the intention behind this mass event, right? Whatever you see, however you see people react, that's how these powers, principalities, these, intelligence agencies want you to react. So, like I said, I think in my thoughts and prayers, first and foremost, they go to Charlie Kirk's family, his children, his wife. They did not sign up for this.
Yeah.
No one deserves to live a life without a father. And my thoughts and prayers also go to Charlie Kirk. Regardless of how I feel he played within the system of control, I pray for everybody to return home to our Heavenly Father. I don't wish, anybody send eternity away from that. So no one might casting judgment. But my take's a little different, because I definitely think he is part of the system. You're not given the keys to Turning Point USA at the age of 18 with $1 million worth of funding, running a propaganda arm for the Conservative Inc. And he did so until just recently. And that's where I think part of this manipulation or PSYOP comes into play, because a lot of stuff that's coming out right now, clearly it was an organized hit by a paramilitary organization of some sort. There was a plane that left that you couldn't track right after that. But I view everything through the lens of this Ezekiel 38 and 39, and that's when all the nations turn on Israel. So what is everybody talking about right now? Well, they're saying this was Mossad that took them out. And slowly but surely, they are manufacturing the consent of the populace for all the nations to turn on Israel. And unfortunately, I think that this is what this is.
I agree.
It's interesting, man. I mean, because there is a lot of demonizing towards Israel throughout.
But for the record, their actions require it, and the people who run Israel know exactly what they're doing. They want to get this illicit response out of people because they are trying to, and this is, I think it all goes back to Deuteronomy 32, when God created the nation, signed a lowercase God to rule over each principality. And I think they all work together in trying to fulfill this prophecy because they want their final destiny with God the Most High and Yeshua our Messiah.
Yeah, it's wild too. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever worked with Donut before, but he kind of gets into a lot of the symbolism behind some of these things that happen, the numerology, the gematria, this kind of stuff. He links a lot of these kind of cases to ritual practice or some sort of sinister occult belief is kind of resting behind what we see or what we're fed. And I find it interesting, he had, and a lot of these things can play up to just coincidence, and I'm not being too conspiratorial about it, but the fact that he had a freedom shirt on and what he was actually talking about right at that time when he got popped,
violence.
It's almost
Those
like maybe
2 words,
right? Gang violence. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy was also asking him. I literally, before he picked up the microphone, said something, put it down, got hit. The question was to him as far as, pertaining to transgenders and shootings and the statistics behind it. And then that's when Charlie picked up the phone and he's like, yes, gang violence is what, just contributing to more of the statistics, because he's a numbers guy as well, right? Like that's a big part of the conversations that he has with people. I don't know. He's wearing a freedom shirt. There's a lot of little things that are just kind of
the gematria leads to 33. Some people are doing breakdowns and stuff. Everybody has their take, but I'm like,
sure.
I also thought of it as, I hate to say it, and I hope not, but he could be in on what they're going on, because remember, we have both sides of the spectrum work for the same satanic agenda sometimes. I hope he's not a part of that, but it does, kind of play into it, because we need always like a counter a counter person for the other side, like the left and the right, while they're just, kind of puppeteering up top, to make it look like a circus show, a Freemasonic circus show,
Now, there was even some talk, too, to where he was supposedly kind of starting to change his views a little bit towards...
Yeah, he was on Megyn Kelly.
Coming out against Israel.
Yeah, he was.
Oh. I'm sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, he was on Megyn Kelly, and he brought up the ADL and their anti-white agenda. And that's what I'm saying. It's, if they really wanted to take him out, they would have, and not have it come back to them, they would have done it a different way. They wanted this high impact event. They wanted what people called the JQ question to be, front and center stage. And to me, that's not a coincidence when you understand what, the prophecy says, or what their interpretation of the prophecy says.
And one thing too, guys, I want to pick your brain on it, was our community, the conspiracy community, just generally speaking, we are so quick to jump. And when I say we, I'm talking a broad brush statement here. There's exceptions to every rule, but so quick to jump on every conspiratory train. Mm-hmm. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is a lie. It doesn't matter. Controlled opposition, feds, it's a AI generated video, he's alive, he faked his death, and they're so quick to do that. And with AI, artificial intelligence, Photoshop, we work with this stuff every day, and when these events happen, a lot of people in our community are so quick to cry wolf, and it kind of frustrates me sometimes, because I'm like, everything's fake, everything's a lie, everything's a psyop. So what is true?
Yeah.
What do you hold true?
Well, what's crazy too?
But let me finish this thought though, man. And what aggravates the hell out of me is when you try to talk reason with these people. A lot of them, there's no reasoning with a lot of them, man. And it's frustrating to people like us to have, a good head on our shoulders, and we're critical thinkers. We like to question things, but we keep our mouths shut and investigate it and look at it before we speak.
Amen.
And this, if something is nefarious, hey, look into it, guys. Be a critical thinker. I'm a conspiracy theorist too, but you got to look into things first, not be so quick to just jump on everything and looking for all these, because it's like, if the blue Honda, you never see the blue Honda till you buy one, then you see them everywhere because that's what you're looking for. And that's what a lot of people are doing now, especially where they've monetized channels. Yeah, man, make up all these stories and fake some AI images and do all this stuff for some clicks and to make that money. And it aggravates me, because this is, someone that died. Kids lost their father, a mother lost their husband, and you're just worried about your conspiracy theories, and just splouting stuff. And it's just aggravating, man, to me. And I don't know how to say it, but I just want to pick your guys' brain on that, because in our space, everybody's so quick to do that. We're the ones always crying wolf, and that's why nobody takes us seriously.
Well, I think as Christians, we're supposed to be calm.
We need to do better.
Yeah, we're supposed to be the ones that are calm and not necessarily jumping off conclusion cliff, because the rocks at the bottom are sharp. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was watching everything yesterday, it was shocking to me how bad the information was coming out and how misleading and how dangerous it actually could have been for everybody. And that included our own director of the FBI. He jumped right in there too and said, "Oh, we've got a guy in custody," which was completely wrong. Completely wrong, completely erroneous. Or was it? I think the thing for me is I took a step back today because I was angry. And I was really right, and I think righteously so, right? Righteously angry, but righteous anger has a really funny, way of turning into unrighteous response sometimes if you go too far with it. So I think for me, I've been really watching and observing today, right, and trying to just be at peace about things as much as I can, and just kind of watch and observe, because when I'm not in the attack mode, I'm observing more, and it's funny what you pick up on. And I'm just waiting to get more information. And you got to sift through it, because much to Justin's point, man, truth is getting harder to find every time one of these events happens, man. It's so bad because they are feeding us. There's no doubt about it. They are feeding us. If you're going to go to Fox News, you're going to get fed Fox News. If you go to CNN, you're going to get fed CNN, MSNBC. They're going to feed you. It's one of his, fans that accidentally shot him, kill shot in the neck. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so I think the thing we need to do is take maybe a collective step back a little bit, gather some information, and then kind of process and start looking into things, objectively.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of the fact that it doesn't, so many of the details that we worry about are fed to us, right? Like, who cares what color the guy was? Who cares what religion he was? It could have been a girl that shot him. I don't know. So who cares about the sex? Who cares? None of that actually matters in the right now. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
First off, we have to figure out who did it, right? And maybe we'll get the why. The fact is, though, is that a person that really impacted the world, right? And good, bad, or ugly, to your opinion or your how you gather what Charlie Kirk did, right? He was assassinated in this country. He was invited to his assassination, actually. That's something that people fail to realize is the university invited him there to speak, right? Mm-hmm. It was part of his tour, but yes. So at the end of the day, though, he's exercising his right of free speech in a country that allegedly takes that very seriously, correct? I mean, we can all agree on that, mm-hmm. right? And he was killed for it.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, the other thing, my daughter, so I was really mad yesterday too, Kyle, and earlier today. My daughter basically called me on the edge of tears because she plays volleyball in college. Well, she had multiple teammates that were actually cheering. And that is just
disgusting.
I don't care. It's just gross.
Yes.
It's
you're that's my genuine concern.
And I have the opinion of, yes, people's emotions get away from them, but you have very limited character then. If that's
there's a video of a guy jumping up and shaking his arms like 3 or 5 seconds after he was shot. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like, absolute crazy. That to me, those people as a spiritual warrior, right? Christian, I look at those people as though they may be possessed.
Oh, they are.
I'm not
maybe they're definitely possessed.
No, I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, that's how evil would react to that.
Yeah. Call me a hardliner, man, and I might be wrong, but it's like I think it's a righteous anger, but because when I seen that video, I'm like, people like that is the problem. I know people be a Christian and love everybody and kumbaya, but those people need to go. That's the problem.
That's another
they
thing.
Are the cancer.
That's the one I've been wrestling with the last 24 hours, is the balancing act between turn the other cheek, but then also we're called to purge the evil from among us, right? I mean, go Old Testament.
Yeah. Well,
and there is a line here, right? I don't think we're called to complete martyrdom and just lay down and love everybody.
Right. I mean,
but the other thing too is like, not more than 24, 48 hours before this happened, we had a girl who was fled Ukraine to come here to get away from that craziness, who gets on a subway and an insanely demonic possessed person. I mean, there's no way. I mean, he's pure evil. Literally stabs her to death, and everybody watches. And there are. Do you know there's a GoFundMe right now? I believe. And
they took it down. They took it away. Yeah.
It's crazy, but somebody was willing to start it.
Have you looked into that whole thing? There are some weird discrepancies about that one too.
There is.
There is some super.
It's all weird.
Weird discrepancies,
all weird,
and I
man.
don't think like I said, the fact that happened 4 or 5 days ago. And then you have this other high impact event with Charlie Kirk. We'll have to see how the opportunists try to manipulate the propaganda or what they're doing. But I mean, to me, I see, the classic Hegelian dialect, problem, reaction, solution. And the solution is always federal overreach. And I think they're trying to make, everybody scared to the point that we call in the National Guard, that we ask for a biodigital surveillance state. Because that's nothing more than what they want, to tell you the truth. And I don't think it is racial, right? Especially someone who lived a life of sin and had their life completely changed by God. To me, it's not a racial thing at all.
No,
it's a lack of God thing, because those who are living in spirit do not do these things.
That's correct.
And I just have a hard time with some of these opportunists and, pastors as well, like guys like Joel Webbin, who's calling for righteous hatred. And you pointed out earlier that righteous, whatever you call it, can turn into not so righteous at some point. And he's calling for it along racial lines, which I think is all part of these, masters of mankind's plan for us. Because if we're at odds with each other, guess what? We're not paying attention to what those assholes are doing over in DC or anywhere throughout the world.
Well, Stephen, you and I talked about this last night on a podcast. Where we talked about the AI, right? But we were talking about AI as in not just AI, as in like the manipulation of us as people, right? And Gary Wayne and I had the conversation today about who actually is running this world, right? And then I thought back to a guy, I don't know, did you ever get your interview with Jerry Marzinski?
No, not yet, but it's coming up.
So, but he's convinced, and I absolutely agree with him, because I worked with schizophrenics and the sickest of the sick mentally, that they are at the very least oppressed by demons, right? So when we talk about people getting turned on, right? Like the Manchurian Candidate or those type of things. Well, of course they are, because there's already something in them. Right. We don't have to have a chip in us to get activated. If they're already in if they're already being oppressed by the enemy, right? Then they're already there. They're already linked into whatever. They don't need wires and tubules and all the crap that we were talking about last night. It's this is people can call me crazy,
conditioning,
but I don't care because I've seen this type of craziness happen with people that live in third world countries, and it's like something switches on and off in them.
I agree with you. I think when it comes to, MK Ultra maturing, candidate, or, these split personalities, I definitely think there is a element of attaching demons to these people. And I wonder if when you flip it on, whatever that word is, that's a demon that comes in there and takes over.
Maybe.
And it's important to understand why this happens. You have to understand the spiritual realm. And I truly believe the way the power structure works is you have the powers and principalities that Paul talks about, which is a network of fallen gods and demonic beings. And then you have these worldly governors, which are these bloodlines. And essentially these demons, they possess these worldly governors, these, whoever it is they need to carry out their agenda. And like I said, I think it all points to this fulfillment of prophecy.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of people, when you start talking about stuff like this, people get really uncomfortable. Even believers get really uncomfortable. But I'm not uncomfortable with this stuff anymore at all, because what I've seen with my own eyes and what I have actually experienced with different entities. Y'all know this is what, to me, if I'm thinking about this in my heart, this is what is happening, right? We are at war. This isn't about, again, I brought it up earlier, race, color, all of it. We are in a battle between good and evil, period.
We battle not against flesh and blood.
So
principalities and powers.
Yeah.
You mind if I read something from Romans 8 to kind of put everything in perspective of what we're seeing, and maybe to give some words of encouragement of people who are very affected by what's going on this last week? So I think this kind of puts everything into perspective of what we're truly battling against and what their objective is. And it's from 35 through 39 in Romans 8. So I'll read it real quick. Who shall separate us from the love of Messiah? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? As it is written, for your sake we are being put to death all day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. But in all these things, we are more than conquerors through whom who loves us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor angels nor principalities, nor things present nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing will be able to separate us from the love of God that is Messiah Yeshua our Lord. So he's talking about these principalities, these powers, and what are they trying to do? They're trying to separate us from God. They're trying to separate us from God's love in hopes that we carry out whatever their agenda is. I think that's what it is.
And bottom line is this: is people are like, wait, what? And if the Prince of Persia, or if one of these entities can hold off an archangel from coming to someone's rescue, what do you think they can do to us? You know what I mean? I mean, but you understand what I'm saying. Like how people that are open to it, that give that thing dominion and give it consent to do whatever it wants with it. Of course, they can do whatever they want.
Absolutely. I want to echo Justin's point about 10, 15 minutes ago. We get in this conspiracy realm and we say so many things, but I do think that we can all agree on what you said, that this, whatever is happening here, we're at war spiritually, and this is demonic of some nature. Whether it is a planned event by the uppers, or it's somewhat a lone person, which I don't believe it is. I don't believe it's just a lone person. I think it was very skillfully done. But whatever it is, we know that it is the evil one who is warring against us, trying to stir something up. I do believe that. Charlie Kirk, like, family man, preaching, his goal is preaching Jesus Christ. It wasn't God, he didn't go out there and always talk about God. No, he talked about Jesus Christ. That's a specific, that's a completely different thing when you start using the name of Jesus and telling people to go talk about him, and telling that, and speaking in a way that really just tried to, tried to get people out there. And I understand that he, there's some that say that he might be controlled opposition, and I'm not there yet, but I just think that, man, what we're seeing is a war of principalities and powers of some sort. They definitely have their hand in it, obviously. To what degree, we don't know, but my prayer to people is that you don't do anything dumb. Don't do anything dumb, number one. And number two, just understand that if we saw it, like y'all said, if they really wanted to take him out and it not be public, he would have died of a heart attack or something like that. They wanted it to be public. This is made to be an event.
Yeah, it increases the people's shock value. It increases the ritual they were trying to do with the fear and the, psychological warfare. It almost gives them power, in the spiritual realm. And I believe they were just trying to get the full effect of the shock value in the physical, the power in the spiritual, and just straight up demonic activity, man. It's a spiritual and physical hit, in my opinion. You could talk about God all day long. As soon as you mention the word Jesus, is a problem. Remember, ye will be hated for my name's sake. If you preach Jesus nowadays, man, they're gonna oh yeah, he's got to go. Get this man out of here. Regardless if you're paid opposition or whatever you want to be, it's really not okay to say Jesus. Even if you are, if you say, even if you stub your toe and say, oh, Jesus Christ, they're still going to be mad at you, it's insane. So I truly believe he was taken out for preaching Jesus Christ. And that, honestly, that would be the biggest thing, factor, obviously, besides the point that, the rainbow community he was speaking against what they're doing in general. It's just a double whammy, man. They have every motive to go after him. Even like I just see a whole reel of people just celebrating his death, and it's just like, that's really sick. Because like, like even like if you're on the right and conservative and you're some, you love Trump and stuff like that, you don't see many Trump people or right wing people being like, yeah, let's go out and do this to the left. No, unless they're coming after us and our families, then we're like, okay, this has got to stop. You just only really see this with certain ideologies, certain lifestyles, certain movements,
It's a
and
double
I'm not
standard.
right. It's a double standard. And I see stuff on both sides of the fence, that's why I just choose to be like, screw politics. I'm for what God says. And, I stand for what's right, which is what God says at the end of the day. They're trying to divide us among every facet in society, politics, skin color, you name it, it's obvious. It's painfully obvious. But if you stop watching your dang television for 1 second and live in the real world, dude, I work security all day, and I dap up people at work that are white, black, yellow, like every freaking color in the book. And I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? Good morning. I don't hate any one of them. And as a Christian, we're not even supposed to hate anybody like that. And it blows my mind how they're trying to push this agenda. Like, oh, these Christians hate these people. We're not called to hate anybody. Like, we're supposed to pray for our enemies and such. And also, I wanted to get back to what Kyle and you guys were saying as far as being just a turn the other cheek Christian. I believe in that, but to a point. It's a biblical duty to protect the innocent, to protect our family, and just protect from pagan ideologies and movements. If someone is coming onto your land, let's look at it this way: if someone's coming in your door looking to rob, kill, and destroy, are you going to put your hands up and be like, please don't shoot me? Or are you going to load that? It should already be loaded, but, and just let them have it, because I'm trying to protect my family, and, you have a biblical duty to do so, I think. And we're coming to a point in history where things are going to start wrapping up to the enough is enough level. And we're coming to a point where people are literally there's going to be bloodshed. I hate to say it. I'm not calling for that, but that's what they're calling for. That's what the government loves. They're like, you guys can kill off more of you guys' selves. And meanwhile, we'll just sit back and eat popcorn. And then when you guys have done enough damage and you guys are crying out to us for help, we'll come save you. Order out of chaos is the New World Order motto. So they're eating this up, bro. They're loving this, bro. Like, they're just eating popcorn this whole time, man.
Yeah, the next 6 to 12 weeks is going to be interesting.
It's going to be hell is what it's going to be.
Especially if you take a look at what's going on throughout the rest of the world from a geopolitical standpoint.
Look like Nepal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you see that the Russian drone was shot down in Poland? We're inching towards it, and I think we're coming to the point of no return.
Yep.
I think we're entering the birth pangs. And, we got to stay rooted in God and Jesus.
Yeah. Amen. And I mean, the bottom line is we should absolutely pick mercy. We should pick kindness. We should pick charity, pick love at the end of all of it. Right. But if you're trying to protect yourself and your family, you have to do what you have to do. The difference is you can't go out there looking for it. You can't.
Jesus,
right.
one of the Jesus's last commandments, or not commandments, but one of the last things he said to his disciples is, you need to go out and buy a sword, because I'm not going to be with you anymore.
Right.
Yep. Sell your cloak and buy a sword. Absolutely.
That's right. Now the confusing part
didn't he also
comes
get
in.
mad when Simon used it, though?
He did. But I was going to cover that.
For the wrong reason now.
For the wrong reasons. He said, those who live by the sword die by the sword, meaning you went there first. Right. Much to Bennett's point. That's what the chastisation there was, is you went there first, and because he was more the hot-headed one of the group because it was Peter.
Yeah. I've never started a fight in my life, but I've ended plenty.
I was standing instructions in my house, baby.
And I'm all for protecting your family. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I am a firm believer in being a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a war.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life. That's how I, you know,
I
I've
heard
done
that.
some heinous shit in my life, guys.
I hear you.
I mean, I've done some bad stuff. I've killed people. I've done all these things, and regardless of whether or not it was me protecting me or whatever, it still doesn't sit well, right? That the pieces of your soul break off when shit like that goes down.
That's what I've heard.
So at the end of the day, I mean, we can get angry and we can get mad and we can blow off steam, but that's all it needs to be. I don't even believe in the death penalty, because who am I?
Right.
It's not my place to judge these people, right? It's none of our jobs. At the end of the day,
just arrange the meeting.
Yeah,
correct. But you understand what I'm saying? It's not my job to
I'm
choose
not the
whether
judge, I
you
just arrange the meeting, Daddy.
yeah, whether you live or die is not my.
Yeah.
Not my.
You're
And
good.
Doc is on time.
Being in the prepping sphere for so long, you know, a lot of people have been screaming, "Oh, there's going to be a civil war. Oh, there's going to be a civil war." Here's my argument, and it's always been my argument. It's like, okay, there's going to be a civil war. What are you going to do? Just pick your neighbor and start, you know, popping them off? Like, you guys got to think when you start saying stupid stuff like this. And
there's going to be a catalyst.
And it's like, I think that you know, the next 6 to 12 weeks are going to get bad? Yes, I do. My thing is, like you guys said, is protect yourself. You know, protect yourself. I think Steven Crowder said it really well. Have a hairpin trigger on self-defense at the moment. Be very, very, very aware. The time for us to think that we can not have our head on a swivel is over. Whether it be controlled opposition or not, just like you said, it's like your daughter's calling you. There's people out there cheering for this.
Yeah.
And it gets them pushed in that direction. Whether, whether it's just the push that they need. Yeah. It's that catalyst, whether it be whether this be real or not, when it comes to organic, it's still pushing people that will think it and will organically start violence. And we have to be prepared for that.
I mean, anybody that holds Charlie Kirk's ideals is the same in their mind as Charlie Kirk. So if if they're willing to celebrate his death, they are willing to celebrate mine.
They're targeting Christians right now. That's what I'm saying.
They are. And this is exactly how we wind up with Sodom and Gomorrah. This is exactly how we wind up with everything we had before the flood. And it's exactly what the Bible says is going to happen. It's already. I think the birth pains are well underway, and I think we're getting ready to see some baby action here soon.
Pop off.
Yeah,
here, right? I also think, it's always usually the people that call for the violence and call for the war that have never actually been
on the front lines. Yeah,
they've never actually. I've had so many people that I know, and they're like, I'm gonna and I'm like, dude, have you ever been punched in the face? Or have you ever punched somebody in the face?
You can't even start a lawnmower. You ain't gonna start a revolution.
Exactly.
Only half of these people
are just so
only
dumb
half
when
of
they
the
say
tough
that.
talkers, right?
And I only hasten the day.
One half of them have said none. They haven't. So stop it.
Yeah, exactly. And these people are just like, oh yeah, I'll be so ready when it kicks off. I'll grab my gun and go to the woods. No, you won't. You'll last a day and you'll die of dehydration.
Kyle said it earlier, like squeezing the trigger. Man, when the stuff goes down, these things turns into sausages. You can't use them. That's why you have to train and train. Why do you think the military and these guys? Why do you think we would train literally burying our asses in brass? Because when it's going down and you're on a two-way range, right? That's a whole nother animal. If you don't have your wits about you, then people just have no concept.
Yeah.
Zero concept.
And the way Kyle put it is like with hunting, it's like even with just hunting a deer, it's like your body just starts freaking out. Like you start shaking. They call it buck fever. And it's your body just
feeling,
literally
it's like,
but
the adrenaline rush,
Oh, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
But Kyle said it so well. It's like your body just gets so you get so juiced and amped. There's a football player that he went, like a Super Bowl winning football player, that went out hunting and started picking it up, and he said that going hunting was the most, like, the most juiced he's ever been in his entire life. Was that feeling?
And you and I talked about this, Travis. Wait until the Therion come out of the woods. What are you doing then, man?
Yeah.
I also think
Right?
that in order for righteous anger not to turn into unrighteous anger, it takes complete faith in our Creator that true justice comes when we meet Him, right? I think there's a lot of people who are deceived. They're falling for all different propaganda. I know I did for the longest time. I know I'm still probably falling for some propaganda. I just think that faith that true justice comes when we meet our Maker gives us the grace to treat others with, because we don't want to do anything that would go against God's law, in my opinion. And anger can lead us to that.
Absolutely. And we're called to not sin in our anger, and anger can lead that. But Ben, I truly believe that at some point we can't, how do I put this, Christian, like, at some point we can't pray our way out of this. As terrible as that sounds, I can't pray for, how do I put this? I can't pray for a certain segment of people enough to get them to change if bullets are flying my way. Whether it be pre-manufactured by by whatever or not, there's a segment that believes that and wants it. So I'm not calling for people to lay down on this one anymore. I'm calling for I'm calling for awareness and a boldness, and I'm not calling for any violence. Let me make that very clear. I'm
you or me,
calling for
it's gonna
people
be
to
you
be.
if I can help it.
Call the medics, but not for me.
Right. Well, I'm sounding the alarm, saying that
Restraint.
be restrained, but like there are people out there that want to destroy this. Like, okay, I'm a husband and a wife, and I have a wife and 2 children, and I talk about Jesus. That could have been any one of us at SpiracyCon, by the way, guys.
I know.
I was thinking about that too.
Like genuinely, like, it would have been easy for someone to walk up, say, "Hey, it's really nice to meet you, Travis." Bam. There's no security that could have helped me in that situation. There's just none. Unless you have, like, metal detectors and everybody walks through it, like, what you're not going to do.
Right.
I mean, that could have been any one of us.
You know what's crazy?
I had mine on my side at that event.
Oh yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
man.
smart.
I encourage.
I did too. I did too. But what are you going to do if someone, like, hey, blah 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 blah, pop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the bottom line is too is you can't live in fear.
Right.
I'm not gonna. No way.
I just carry everywhere I go.
And that's a really great thing to say, is we're not going to live in fear, and we're not going to stop doing what we are called to do, because that's what they want. They did this, whoever they are, they did this so we would stop talking about Jesus and stop doing the things that Charlie Kirk was doing, whoever they are.
Yeah. They're going to have to Charlie Kirk me, because I'm not stopping.
Well, I think too, I agree with that, but I think that's not Satan's overall objective to maybe being some big part of controlling what took place. I think, this is back to what Doc said. I was being really patient there. I wrote a bunch of notes here, so I might be a little bit here. I think there is a conspiracy. I think Satan is a conspiracy. I think we're talking about something we can't see and we can't prove that exists at the end of the day. So really, we all are conspiracy theorists as Christians, looking at some of the stuff that's going around online. The guy touching his hat, the guy giving maybe a sign on his cheek, another guy lifting his shoulder, his arm sleeve. that stuff people are making to be like a conspiracy, and I think there's conspiracy theorists out there that are completely demoralized. They're not critically thinking, just to piggyback like what Doc was saying, we need to critically think about this stuff. It's very important. I think where we're at in this whole Hegelian dialect, because I think that's the protocol that Satan uses, because it's been used since the beginning of time. It's been used since what took place in the Garden of Eden. And he understands the human condition, and he understands the human psyche even better than we can prove it on paper or any kind of journal or any kind of science. He understands it the best. And I think where we're at is in the reaction. This is kind of, and we're all humans. Like, we can only compute the human experience. We can only compute our nature. And it's really hard because Paul's actually telling us to stop doing that. He's like, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We're going to see all of these things, but understand it's even at a greater uh, understanding of what's really in control of all of this taking place. I think where we're at is the reaction, and we're all, getting off our chest how we feel. We're going to protect ourselves. This is what we would do in certain situations. And I agree with all that. I just think that what we need to kind of focus on critically thinking wise is the solution. And I think that is what is coming next after what is probably going to come just after the bigger reaction, right? Because we're only 48 hours after this thing has taken place. And if you really think about the stages of how a person goes through trauma, we've yet to even get past the second stage. And it gets a little worse as it gets going. And as it gets going, as these stages start to progress, things start to get normalized a little bit. So that's kind of what I fear, is people normalizing and settling on how it is that they're feeling. Because at least being a medic, being in front of dead bodies that I can't really count anymore, kids, all this stuff, at least through that part of my life, God has taught me to detach from the human experience. This is something I know how to do with flipping a switch, unfortunately, unless it's actually someone that I know or it's a loved one. It's really hard to, not flip that switch. So I think,
Stephen,
yeah.
can you walk us through those stages that we're all feeling right now?
Yeah, I think the first, I'd have to look it up, but I think the first stage is like denial, right? The first stage is like, there's no way. And what were we talking about at the beginning of the show? We're like, it was AI. There's like no way, right? Um, but if someone could look up the 5 stages of death, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what we're going through. And then they can read it out there. But I think what is going to come out of this is maybe what Ben was kind of alluding to, like a technocratic surveillance state, which is ready to go. It's just they want more commotion to happen a little bit. I think the right is a little bit more disciplined than the left in as far as going out and rioting and all that kind of stuff. But what I think can also probably take place is some sort of false flag of, event that will be blamed on the right now. And now that's going to stir up the left. And it's just a constant, battle on both sides until all of a sudden, Big Brother comes in here and says, hey, everyone is going to have a wearable. We're getting rid of your cell phones. We're moving to an electronic tattoo. It's going to be integrated into your actual identity of who you are, your person. And now we're going to be able to monitor and watch everything. There's that idea of because if we're going to have politics and we're going to have things that are actually, real in front of us, for example, Charlie went to a university, there was a crowd there. This is like it's a real event that took place. That could push that kind of agenda, or everything becomes remote and electronic and everything is like viewed from your TV at this point. And there's no more crowds. There's no more, because the span of control is too big. They can't supervise everything, right? We've seen this with the Trump shootings. We've seen this just progressively happen throughout history, right? Like it's happened with Christ's, persecution and death. It's happened with the JFK incident, 9/11, what happened in 2019 and 2020, and now like this is another event that I think is similar to that because it's the emotion behind it. Like it sucks. I'm pissed off,
Yeah, I was pissed off when I saw it. When I first saw it, it just kind of sunk my heart, and it just is like it felt so evil. And I was like, man, this is some dark, heinous
But
stuff.
why wouldn't this kind of situation push Palantir even harder?
Oh yeah, this is gonna.
Why is the right actually paying $500 billion to build Operation Stargate? There's Palantir, that's a defense contracting company that's linked to the IRS for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And it's
those
going to
people
be
pushing that. I'd say, what about that poor girl that got stabbed in the throat? There was plenty of surveillance and stuff on there that didn't help her.
Right. And I'm thinking maybe this is where it'll push it more to some sort of electronic devices that are able to
wearables.
Yeah, it's not the answer.
I'm saying it's body activity
it's the
data.
Control.
It's body activity data. If we're all linked to a hive mind system that can detect how we think, and it could set up it's a predicated system to where now it can predict
potential
threats. Why not push that into the country even harder, or in society? Because now the people are probably going to want it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would want it. I don't want to go into IHOP and get shot.
Well, Franklin,
so one of the biggest things that they're going to start pushing. Go ahead, Doc.
Oh, I was just going to give you a quote from Franklin. He said that the people that are willing to trade their freedom for the appearance of security deserve neither.
So think about yes, that's true. So think about this, guys. So my company's rolling out the new Meta 2s and then the Oakley ones. What do they have? They're wearables. They have they're connected to your phone, but not only do they have now the Meta AI, they have dual cameras, dual everything, and you wear it might become one of those things where if you're wearing glasses now, you have to wear these, or something, or something like that, to where we can see exactly what you're seeing, we know what's happening, we can follow you everywhere, and it's there, it's right there. The crazy thing is the technology is there. Is the technology, can they make the technology cheap enough for everybody to do it? Is the thing, and that's the scary part about it.
You want to know how much Larry Ellison, the guy who actually runs Oracle, was actually promoting his little AI sensor to be on your clothing compared to what just the sensors that are in our phones in price? It was it was body cams. He was talking about body cams. A body cam for the police department costs roughly an estimated $7,000, right? This is something that automatically records 24/7, I mean forever, right? And it's connected to the cloud, so everything gets stored. He said his body cams would be $70. So we're talking something that's incredibly cheap.
I got this one here for $100,
which is so crazy. You mentioned that, bro.
Well, Steve, what was that cartoon you sent me a while back of the government giving everybody that thing?
Well, these were smart mark tattoos that the government was
free for all.
Free for all.
Yeah, I'm not taking that one though.
And people were talking about Larry Ellison. Do you know that Oracle, his company, started off as a CIA project 3 years in advance, titled Project Oracle, and they didn't even change the name? And I think you can just apply this to Silicon Valley across the board, especially with quasi-private investment funds like InQtel that does the seed funding. And I'll tell you the truth, I think the majority of all the technology comes out of DARPA. And then they give some stupid backstory, like they invented it in a garage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then randomly, like take Apple, for example, their first computer was sold for $666. I mean, their symbol is a Apple with a bite out of it. It's crazy.
Well, how about DARPA, right? They came out with what was called LifeLog, and then that got shut down by Congress. And then all of a sudden they came out with Facebook because it was actually invented by someone out of a university, and it became a corporation. And it was a business of someone, in the United States, which you can't take a business away from somebody. It's illegally done. So I think that's like the conspiracy that we may be up against. And I agree, like there's so many conspiracies out there for everything. And I agree with Doc to where I think sometimes we move fast, and we just got to kind of slow down a little bit and evaluate things maybe 3 or 4 or 5 more times than we normally would. And it's important, because I think that's another thing in their agenda, is to try and discredit us so much that if we were to go amongst a jury, the jury would not they would not vote for us at all anymore, you know.
Yeah, I also think it's
Yeah.
important to understand what's beneath the physical agenda, because I think controlling us, I think, jacking our loose or doing things to us, that's just the cherry on top. I think ultimately, and we should know this because we should know how to react to the physical agenda. This is a war for our spirit. Salvation is real. Heaven and hell are real. And I think, Satan has this weird relationship with, our creator, where he's here to tempt us. And they're going to, do everything they can to turn us away from God. I think that's what's the root of everything we see in this physical realm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
So
mean,
we've
that's why I
talked about
named my
part
show
of-
what
oh,
I
go
did.
ahead, Scott, sorry.
You
Go
know,
ahead.
I named it The Word at War because, whose the word is Jesus, right? Well, the world is clearly at war with the word. We saw it front and center yesterday. That's
Mhm.
exactly what we saw. But yeah, what's happened in the government? I mean, I don't want, we can probably move on from this because we got one in the group that wants to talk, but he just can't get there. But what they're doing, and I saw this the other day. I don't know if you guys watched the subcommittee hearing, or it's not a subcommittee, it's like an oversight hearing for the in the House for whistleblowers. It was UAP whistleblowers, right? That's where the video came out with the UAP, right? That they fired a missile at. But what's happening is, and this has been done for years, is the government, to get around oversight, gives it out to these private companies. And so it's the Oracles and it's the Microsofts. Like Microsoft has patents. I was just reading about it here. Microsoft has submitted multiple patents, and one of them is for biometric sensor data, right? Where they are going to be able to read your biometric sensor data and then reward you by giving you cryptocurrency into your account.
Yep.
For good,
Just talking
for
about
good
that last
behavior.
night.
Credit score system.
Right?
Oh, he's
Yeah.
a good boy. Give him $500 today.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going right down the line, right? What is that? All these conversations, what is ringing in everybody's head that nobody's said yet? Mark of the beast, right? I mean, that's we're funneling right down the line.
So you can't buy or anything or purchase nothing without it. And that's what they're pushing. That's what they're funneling everything. Every agenda is funneling to, I feel.
Yeah.
It's got to go through AI, total surveillance state. It's gonna be like the movie Eagle Eye and iRobot out here, to be honest. And then they're gonna be like, all the people have to be chipped, so we know where you're at all the time. Now we know if you're documented or undocumented. We need to know where everybody is because the world's getting crazy and scary, and we just need to know everything at all times and have control on things. And people are gonna beg for it because there's gonna be worse events, unfortunately, than 9/11. I hate to say it, it's just got to keep getting worse and worse and worse until the people beg for it. Remember, chaos out of, order out of chaos is what they're saying. So that's what they want. That's where they're going to push more chaos, more chaos, more chaos. And then the people are like, please help us. So
I'll tell you what, I'll bring up, go ahead. Whoever, I don't know if I was interrupting someone. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Cheers.
so this is another question for everyone. Like, what do you think this is going to do for our Second Amendment?
I was just thinking
they're
that
trying
before
to
you said
take it away, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're trying, but I think I've lately, even with this, I think they're losing ground. That's just my opinion. I'm kind of in that space, because I own a defense company, as some of you guys know, and the bottom line is they're losing the ground in that space because you're never going to be able to disarm America. You're just not going to be able to. It's next to impossible. Because you also have the side of this is, okay, legally we take it away, but are you giving them up? come and take them. I mean,
right, exactly.
What you
just
said,
have,
it physically can't be
civil
done.
war.
Correct. It physically cannot be done because here's part of the issues with, and we could say civil war, but the bottom line is the talking heads making those policies and those laws do not have the enforcement mechanism to enforce it.
No.
Because most of those cops, most of the people are going to say no. Because
unless
they're
there's
also
robots.
the people.
Robots will be correct.
Now that's a different animal, but that's a different, that's a whole nother, down the road. I'm just saying, as of right now, today, they do not have the mechanism to enforce that.
And people can 3D print ghost guns and all sorts of stuff. So, it's just never ending.
It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. We like to talk about it like it's an actual problem, but it's just not. It might be in a micro for some people. Like if they might come take my guns, but they're not taking my block's guns. It's just not happening.
Right.
So yes, in the micro, it might affect some folks, but in the macro, no, it's impossible. There's too much. There's too many. And you want to freaking have people rally to a flag?
Oh yeah.
You're done.
Bro, if that happened, I assure you, every gay, straight, whatever, redneck person, black person would team together and go against the real opposition,
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but then a piece of me disagrees.
Because I want to hear where the disagreement is. What is it actually?
If we look at the social experiment that happened in 2019 and 2020, a lot of people actually did what they didn't want to do, and they still did it just to be a part of society.
But that was a shot. This is a gun. This is
what I'm saying is
it's a different animal,
right? But what I'm saying is if they wrap it around in the context of you need to do this to eat and to get food, then I think people would just go, yeah, okay, I get it.
And that's true. And then I would immediately, as a Christian, be like, that's the mark of the beast. Right
absolutely. But then that's where
I'll
there's
just
a
take
remnant.
my gun and get my food. I don't need your food.
I was thinking
And then if that's the case, then I'm listening to everything T-Carp says, and I'm heading to the freaking mountains.
Yeah, we're going to the mountains.
You know what I'm saying? I have a plan.
I have such a long drive.
Country boy can survive.
I mean, I have a place. Some of you have heard me talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I think the bulk of the agenda, personally, whether it's the technological revolution or to de-arm us and all that stuff, is going to come after this world war and the birth pains. I think they're going to use it to get rid of, the dissidents and stuff like that. The older folks that might not necessarily, be involved with technology and all that kind of stuff, or are pro guns. And I think you wipe out all those people. And when you build your new beast technocratic system, guess what? There's less speed bumps in the way to carry out their agenda. So I think we're going to see the bulk of all the stuff we're talking about after this war. I think right now they're just planting the seeds, part of like a ritual magic trick to manifest their reality. And I think that's what we're going to see, because they definitely have the technology. They've been developing this stuff within DARPA and other agencies for the past how many other years? You hear we're 30, 50 years advanced in what we see in the consumer models. So I think they're just kind of planting seeds in our heads, and I think they're going to wipe out a lot of us, or they're going to try.
Yeah, that's so funny. Doc, go ahead. You're raising your hand.
Yeah, I seen it. I was like, I'll try it out.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Me and Kyle's been talking in the studio chat back and forth when you brought this up. I wanted to bring this up. Anybody that talks about, these events and how it's going to affect gun rights, I think we should go to Charlie himself. There's a clip going around right now. He was talking about this very same thing, about the Second Amendment. And somebody made this comment, kind of like a gotcha. They're like, oh, so you're saying that the death of innocence is okay as long as you can keep your guns. And he says, sadly, the loss of life is going to have to happen to protect our Second Amendment rights.
Right.
And they were like, oh, so you're okay with dying so other people can keep their guns? And he was like, if I have to, yes, because it just has to happen.
I mean, I think
that man lived and died by what he said.
Amen. I mean, honestly, they're gonna come for people who believe in the Second Amendment, who are all for it. They're gonna come straight for people like us. Like, you really think like they're not gonna be coming after Christians who are pro Second Amendment? That we're gonna be the first one like that they're coming after. Casualties unfortunately are gonna happen in war, and we are at war. With the enemy. It is what it is. Unfortunately, but nothing is ever gonna come easy.
I've seen something over the last 24 hours that's actually concerned me more than the guns. I still feel like they're going to use this because there's a natural, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's like when you kill someone with a gun and you're a crazy left nut, it's hard for you to, kind of advocate. You're using the very thing that you use to kill someone, so it does a circular argument.
But guns are yucky.
Yeah, what I've seen over the last 24 hours that concerns me more than anything, and this has actually been coming from, I've seen people close to me that have been advocating for this, and then Anna Paulina Luna came out today and actually advocated for this, which is calling for like X and Facebook and TikTok to take down the video of his assassination. And I know some of the friends around me have younger kids. One of them, his daughter actually saw it, came very upset. She's younger, and obviously for a kid, imagine a kid watching that, the distance shot is bad enough, but then when you see that side stage shot and it's rough, right? We've all seen it. And I get that, but on the other hand, when we start advocating, especially now we have more conservative people that have always been pretty staunch free speech, advocating for starting to have more and more control on freedom of speech, I think that is an exceptionally dangerous slope and step to make. And I agree, Justin, you just said it in the chat. I'll just say it and call you out, but I agree with you. It is the parent's job, but it is really hard. I will also defend the parents a little bit and say it is really hard because one parent doesn't do their job, and then their kid sends that video to another kid and gets around it, and then we have the same problem. But I think when we go down the line of wanting to talk about suppressing information, that's very dangerous because it's already getting hard enough with AI and everything to have good discernment around what's real and what's not. So if we just completely abandon reality altogether and just start filtering it out, the deception it's going to be so easy to deceive us. It's just going to go up 15 notches.
Can't trust your eyes or your ears anymore, man. Unfortunately,
yeah, it's bad.
You gotta pray to have discernment,
Well, I think you just answered the question on one of the questions on why this happened. What comes out right after it happens? To your point, that federal overreach to take away our freedoms.
Every time there's a school shooting, they do it. They're like, guns are a problem. We need to take away the guns. Guns. I'm like, dude, I'm in a profession where good guys take out the bad guys with guns, like what are you gonna do? Just have all the bad guys have guns and just sit idly by while we're just getting like they got like freaking Glocks with switches on them, and you just
Taylor doesn't even need a gun. He just needs to look at you.
You're coming. Like I said, the chat too. Name one, criminal that abides by laws.
Yeah,
passing all your gun laws. All the criminals are going to be like, oh, well, there's laws. Exactly. I can't own a gun no more. Yeah, right. No, you're just going to disarm the law-abiding citizens.
There's no gun sign? Oh, no.
But that's what I just said, too. It's like laws are only as good as them being able to be enforced.
Yeah.
So right. The bottom line... time I checked, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Last time I checked, I mean, he was in a gun-free zone at a university. That really helped.
Yeah. So and everybody else couldn't carry, so then,
I am a giant proponent of, especially with a lot of the work that I do, is I am a beg for forgiveness, not ask for permission kind of guy, because nothing gets done.
No.
So I'm not that way with the Lord. But pretty much that's the only person I'm not. The only, well, my wife too. I gotta.
She might see this.
Yeah, she might see this.
Edit this out.
But I didn't say that, honey. So, but you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's I once I saw that thing, even before, I've always advocated for people, concealed carrying or open carrying, depending on which state you're in. But I'm going to say right now, I believe everybody already should have been doing that and should to this day. I think everybody's mom, grandma, sister, cousin, whatever. It doesn't matter, man. Everybody should be doing that, but be prudent about it. Be situationally aware. Be aware of the laws, in your spot. But, we're living in times where even our own FBI and CIA and everybody's telling you there's going to be attacks worse than 9/11 out here coming on our turf. Be prepared. They're always telling us throughout, everything on every facet of news media too, and just every connection is telling you be aware stuff is going to happen. Not to be living in fear, but I'd rather have than not have. I'd rather be safe than not safe, and at least I can say I had all the tools necessary, because you don't want to be in a situation where with your wife and kids going to Walmart or something and someone just starts shooting or getting crazy. You want to be able to just be able to take it out, assess the situation, neutralize the threat, and go back home to your kids and family, man. Like it's either you or them at that point. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more situations. I hate to say it, like what we saw with Charlie, and it's just, it's unfortunate, but these are the times we're living in. I truly believe, in my opinion, I don't know about y'all's, but that we are living in the book of Revelation that the Bible talks
100%.
about now, and it's only going to get worse. That's prophetic. It's only going to get worse till Jesus comes back and makes it better. It has to get worse in order for prophecy to take place and happen and it to escalate,
Travis, this is something from earlier. You asked me about the 5 stages, but it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Just circling back around.
That's wild, because I woke up this morning angry, and I know that, Justin did. I know so many people that were angry today, and it's funny. I feel like you hit the nail on the head. We're all going through this trauma together. It's like, all right, oh my gosh, look at my phone. Did that really happen? Am I literally watching this happen? And then today is that anger, and I pray for us as we all go through this. Literally, we're all going through this grieving together.
I just want to say thank you to Stephen for putting it together. At the end of the day with this, yes, Marzulli, Doc.
Amen. Yes.
The reason I say that, though, is I woke up just angry as well. And I'm at a point now where I feel like I can talk about it. Whereas in 12 hours ago, I would have been losing it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I would have said something. I would have said something dumb.
Really
Thank you for this.
Yeah.
I would have said something really stupid that would have got me fired. I'm being real with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I do this. I'm sorry, Kyle. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm sorry, man. You go ahead, please.
No, I do this at work. I'm part of a peer support team. So when a young kid just gets on the line, he's 18 years old maybe, and he held a little 9-month-old baby that was, a rag doll, and he's going through that. I go there and I'm like, hey, let's talk. I'm here to listen. And I don't know what it was, man, because this is I can't stop watching the video. I cannot stop watching the video. I'm in the mall with my family. My wife is trying to buy a dress for a wedding. My daughter's like, Daddy, let's play hide and seek in the clothes racks, which is awesome and fun, by the way. I love it.
Yeah.
It
is actually fun. Right?
And I'm over here just, I'll go on Twitter and I'm like, I have to see this again. I can't believe what's going on. And that's why I was
PTSD.
like, no, it is.
Yeah, it is. It actually is.
It's psychological PTSD, man.
And something was calling me. I got to get my boys on, man.
So
whoever it is,
let me ask: is anyone else a veteran? Okay, so
they wouldn't have me. I got denied.
If you guys go through TikTok, I call this like because I was a peer support specialist for the VA for a few years in one of my former lives, right? Because I obviously have a few. So,
what haven't you done?
It's just not much. But anyway.
That's right. He's the Dalsakis man, the most interesting guy in the world.
He's the most interesting man in the world.
Did you just say Dosakis?
Dosaki.
He's from Tennessee, man. Come on.
Yeah. Where was I going with this? Oh,
sorry, Bennett.
So no, the TikTok. So if you go on TikTok, I call it like the Rambo effect. Okay. Where with big things like this, what ends up happening is you get a lot of veterans will get on, go look on TikTok when we get off, if you guys have TikTok accounts or reels,
Unfortunately.
and look for veterans
Right.
talking about this stuff. There's something that happens to the community, because these are folks, and you know, we have some like Stephen, you're a first responder, Taylor, you are. At the end of the day, a lot of these veterans gave an oath to defend this country, and they take that seriously even now.
Yeah. They're like,
so
enough is
what
enough.
We end up getting this weird feeling. I've had it all day of, it's just like we know when danger's rising, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference is that we know what to do with that. And it's not I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or anything. I'm just saying, if people take it too far, you're going to open a door that can't be closed again.
Yeah.
And
my question is, has that been opened already yet?
It's already cracked.
Yep.
I can tell you that because I have friends that I talked off the ledge today that really wanted to pile through that door. They wanted to hit it with a battering ram. I can tell you I've talked to no less than a dozen other veterans, and these aren't guys that I would consider like the like they're pipe hitters. They're not. I was in the special operations community. These aren't guys that like are, you know, weirdo loose cannons. Like these guys are trained. They're killers, man.
Damn.
And it's like managed chaos within them. And unfortunately, we're getting really close to some of these guys popping off. And when that happens, it's not going to be good at all for anybody.
Once the first bullet flies, man, then it's just like, you know, it's funny because when I was in earlier, when I was younger and stuff, I used to be in a lot of protests, and a lot of the times one tactic that, you know, the feds would use, they would throw a rock from the protester side. They would like go gray man and go on our side, throw a rock on their side, so they'd have an excuse to like do something.
Just
and
unleash.
Then, unleash, bro. And then, I used to lead some of these protests, and I saw how violent and how, you know what I'm talking about. It's called mob mentality. People get, as soon as that little trigger event happens, 1,000 people are going to do the same thing, and you expect all chaos. And there's mommy and daddy ain't coming to save you when stuff pops off like that, you know?
No.
I've been in crowds where live guns with live ammunitions have been pointed at us and stuff like that, ready to just go off. And I've literally seen people swinging on cops swinging on protesters, people pulling out knives. I've seen it all. Even in security, I've had people come at me and try to kill me multiple times, and I've had to, you know, unholster my duty weapon. Thankfully, didn't have to shoot. But it's people, once they're triggered with that initial response, it's just going to cause a domino effect, man. And people at that point are not thinking anything other than, I have funnel vision. I'm tunneling in on my target, and it's either you or me. That's it.
And it'll be very localized, but it's these counter protest things that I worry about.
Yeah.
And you get these guys that come out there and I don't know exactly where I'm trying to go with it. I'm just saying that it's a scary part of my mind that I know is so close to shifting gears. And I'm not saying me personally. I'm saying I know guys that this is the world they're living in.
Yeah.
The other side of that is none of them are Christian.
There you go.
Damn,
And
bro.
I can't get to them. I can't. I try, and I have. There's a few. I say none of them. I've gotten to a few, but it's like,
see,
this is the answer though. So we were talking about the problem, Stephen. The answer is exactly what Charlie was doing. That is the answer, because how do we know that? It's because that was what they took down because he was saying all the right things.
Yeah, he even said, the minute I stop talking,
yeah.
that's when violence happens. When people stop talking,
yes,
that's when violence
absolutely.
happens.
Civil discourse is the key.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that point. People
have you seen? Sorry, go ahead, Taylor.
No, people are stopping. They don't want to talk anymore. They want to start going band for band. I'm just being serious. Like, if we're being honest here, everybody and their mom knows it. I'm just going to speak the quiet part out loud. People are tired. We're fed up. Enough is enough. I'm not calling for anything, but I'm saying people are willing to defend themselves by any means necessary. And if one person is coming for the next person, they're going to just two in the chest, one in the head. Like, straight up, like, it is what it is, man. Like, and it's going to be war soon it's already in the spiritual. Now it has yet to manifest in the physical. And we all know
this is what
that.
scares me. This is what really scares me is there is a lot of things going around on social media. And I'm kind of like a little upset at some of the, I would say, people in the political podcast circle and what they're posting on social media. And I think it's AI. You have a picture here. I'm not going to say whose channel this is. You have a picture of here. It's a girl who looks like she's clearly in Kohl's or Macy's or something. She's holding up a t-shirt like this, but on the t-shirt, there's an imprint that shows, Charlie in the moment. It's black and white and it's a cartoon drawing. It's a caricature or whatever it is, but of the blast happening in his neck, and it says debate this. And this is someone's posting this on their platform. But my thing is they're not, this person is clearly in a clothing store.
Right.
This isn't something that's being sold in the clothing store. This, to me, my critical thinking at least, I could be wrong, but this is something that's been generated through artificial intelligence, or someone has just simply done it through Canva or whatever software they can do, and then it goes viral. People get it, and then they just send it out. They repost it, right? There's just
what platform is that on, Steven?
Huh?
What platform is that?
I don't really want to say it. I'll send it to you.
Okay. No, I didn't mean like
put it in
like
the chat.
Twitter or whatever.
Oh no. Oh, it's on Instagram.
Yeah. So the one thing that I have found, and obviously we have our shows, so you have social media, you get your show out there and yada yada. X is the worst for me because X is completely unfiltered, but it's still algorithmically controlled to light your candle. Right? We have all of these platforms that are completely algorithmically controlled, and they do not care what you want to see. They just have so much data on how your brain works that all gets fed into a gigantic server. And it's just designed because the more we can get you to stay, it's all about retention, just like our shows. We want to retain people for the show, right? It's the same thing. And then they can push, so they will push whatever drug will activate your dopamine in your brain.
Yeah.
And on X, it will push the most outlandish liberal stuff. Like every single one of us have talked about how we've seen videos of people celebrating this, right? That was by design.
Yeah.
All of us.
I swear, it's like they're pushing particularly they're pushing a whole bunch of, OF stuff. They're pushing a whole bunch of just trash stuff all the time, shootings, specifically liberal stuff and lifestyle liberal, like Rambo stuff all the time, the stuff that they know is going to piss us off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, I can't get away from it. I'm just like, no matter where I go, I'm just like, dang, I don't even want to be on social media almost. Like,
that's the biggest thing. Everybody needs to take a break right now. Everybody needs to take a gigantic step back from social media first and the media second. You're not going to miss anything. You're still going to have things pop up on your phone, keep you updated. You're going to find out. But man, it's just we're primed right now. When we get into these situations, it's almost exactly the same on the civilian side, really, just lesser so, it sounds like, because these poor guys have experienced so much trauma and so much training, and there's so much that goes into that, like Bennett was talking about. But it's the same thing happening on a lesser scale, I think, for us. And it's just absolutely priming us for the anger. And like, you wake up angry, right? You're already there, you're righteously angry. And then you get on your social media, and that's when the righteous anger turns into unrighteous action.
Let's be honest too. Like, competitive victimhood is and so it's competitive victimhood and competitive outrage is absolutely rewarded in this culture.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So
well, you've been through this. I've been through that.
Especially exactly. So.
And you know what? With the algorithm, we talk about who's the op, who's this and that, and truthfully, it doesn't even matter because in this information war, with the algorithm promoting certain things and not promoting other things, they can just turn your bad opinion into one of their digital bullets to carry out this war. Yeah. So it's like you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ben.
And I think a big part of it has to come from us. It has to come from the people. We have to start being more disciplined. Like this isn't me boasting, but this is something that hit me the other day. And I don't know does this come with age, guys? All right. Okay.
Yes.
Doc, does it? Okay.
I called you out like that, man.
Called you right out. Damn.
I like kind of hide in the shadows because when I come out, it's like all the gray.
I resemble that remark.
Oh no, where is he? He's good. But I think as I'm getting older, because I get a lot of wisdom from you guys, man. It's just part of this life. And for example, what's today, right? Today is 9/11. I have a episode premiering on YouTube right now, and I could have done a conspiracy episode. I could have done something where I could have whipped up a whole bunch of things that would make you look at our government, make you look at the world in a much more of a different lens than the natural man. But what I feel like what God told me to do, he's like, just get real. And so I invited 2 brothers from the fire department on. I got them on the show. And these guys are chaplains from 2 different fire departments. One from my last department I used to work at, and one from a totally different department. And we had a good conversation. We talked about what the scene would have looked like, through our perspective, our eyes. And it's incredible to even bring up that kind of scene. The fact that you have over 120 fire trucks on scene is insane. The first thing that in my mind that pops up is that the whole entire place would smell like diesel. The whole place would smell like diesel. You're not breathing in any fresh air at all. And I just, we got into the mental health aspect of things and all that, just to get a little real, once in a while. The conspiracy stuff is great. I love it. But sometimes we just got to bring back humanity a little bit. And it'll rub off on a lot of people,
The conspiracy stuff can get very fatiguing after a while.
And I truly believe, conspiracies without the truth, a message of salvation, is just another psyop.
Amen.
That's a good
you're
point,
leading people down a different direction, down a direction that really isn't going to serve them. I think if you are going to use conspiracies, you got to bring them into the fold and say, listen, the earth, everything you were talking about this realm is fake, but it's real. What's in the Bible? God is real. Messiah is real.
I love how Ben says it on his show. He says, I give people the black pill. He said, but I give them a glass of the Holy Ghost to wash it down.
There you go.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty black pilled. I mean, I think everyone's in on it except for Jesus.
There you go, man.
Amen.
You're right, though. I mean, that's the same exact thing I do on my show, right?
That sounds like a T-shirt to me, my friend.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody's in on it, but
Write
Jesus.
that down right now.
Hold out your glass.
Hold out your glass. There you go. Everything falls in the funnel, but at the bottom of the funnel, no matter what we talk about, right? Every single thing we've talked about today and anything we're going to talk about, at the end of the day, at the bottom of the funnel, is always spiritual warfare.
That's right.
Amen.
It's always coming back to that, man. The real puppet master we can read in between the covers of the Bible.
Amen.
Right. I mean, that's what puts us higher in this area of discernment.
Well, it helps you keep your focus, right? That's one of the things for me, at least, is I've grown over the last 2 years having conversations with people, and if you're having conversations with people and you're not growing, man, you're doing something really wrong, because it's helped me grow just immensely. But it helps me keep it in perspective. Like when I look at that yesterday, I prayed for the shooter, and that's really hard to do, man. I was doing it through gritted teeth. Let me tell you what, right? That whoever this person is, man, that something happens to them through this process, maybe that they come around. Because the thing that I've learned, and that's really hard, because, we want justice. We want this blood justice, right? That's the way we're wired. But at the end of the day, man, God doesn't want to destroy anything. He doesn't want to lose any part of his creation. You know, it says it right in Genesis, you know, God basically was grieved that he ever made us because of now everything that's happening and what he's going to have to do. You know, the story with Jonah, he's grieved because, you know, he doesn't want to have to kill these people. He doesn't want to have to wipe them out. He even talks about the animals at the end. Nobody ever reads that in the end of Jonah, but he's like, I don't even want to destroy the animals that are there because it's part of my creation. And, you know, we read it earlier that nothing can separate you from God's love, like none of these things, right? So this person is not separated from God's love, but what happens is your actions will separate you from proper relationship with him because you're running away, right? He's not running away. But man, at the end of the day, man, we got a lot of evil. It's just, I mean, you see that. I'm like, anybody that could do that yesterday is pure evil.
Yeah.
Pure
Even
evil.
atheists
like,
are feeling it, dude. Like
yeah,
everybody.
like, are they really salvageable?
I think they are, right?
I hope so.
love
You know,
that
I pray for it.
I love that you said pray for your enemies, right? And I love listening to near-death experiences where, you know, the heart stops for 10 or 20 minutes and their spirits go up and they meet Jesus or they go to hell. And this reminds me of one with this lady, and she said, I lived a really tough life. I was, you know, raped as a child. And she had and she always held a grudge against God, although she believed in him. And she has this near-death experience. She goes up and she gets to meet Jesus, and she has this amazing conversation. She understands what it's like to be in his presence and how great it is, undescribable, and to spend eternity is just amazing. And she came back, and you know what her message was? I pray that the people who did that to me when I was younger, think about this. The people that molested her when she was younger, she prays that they repent. She prays that they come to God and ask for forgiveness, because an eternity away from our Creator, you know, you shouldn't have wished that upon anybody.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's hard. And it's hard. I'm not going to deny, man. I'm like, I wanted justice.
Yeah.
I was right there with everybody else, man. Gritted teeth, wanted blood justice. And I don't necessarily think that in the right circumstances, when justice is delivered, if it's delivered dispassionately and just per God's law, I don't think it's wrong. But when we do it out of rage and we don't, you know, try to make that effort, that's when you start to get sucked into the black hole where you just develop that dark heart. So, but for me, at the end of the day, man, keeping the focal point on spiritual warfare and looking beyond the person's actions, looking beyond, you know, whatever crazy stuff is going on in their head, and trying to focus on the bigger picture of, you know, who the real enemy is.
Yeah. Amen.
Well, if you don't understand the spiritual warfare aspect of it, then you don't know how to address the problem.
That's right.
Right? You see a lot of people giving earthly or material solutions to something that's spiritual. You
Absolutely.
know, people like to say this is a spiritual war, but they don't quite understand what that is, and they still give earthly solutions to it. You know, for a spiritual war, we need spiritual solutions.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, he is the
Straight
answer
up.
to all of it.
Yeah.
Straight up. I don't know if you guys saw, I'm trying not to shift gears too hard, but since we're talking about people that have passed in our community, this guy's a pretty big deal. But Dr. Jeff Meldrum died today. I don't know if you guys know. I know Doc knows who he is. And I know T-Carp knows who he is.
Man, I didn't know that.
David Pilates texted me and said that Meldrum had passed. Dr. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Dr. Jeff Meldrum, he was famous for, he's an anthropologist out in, I believe, Idaho.
Yeah.
And he was famous for basically taking these Bigfoot casts, and basically saying, listen, these are real. You can't fake this part of it. And really giving credit and legitimacy to those that went out, did these casts, saying, here's an actual footprint of this, and he did that. Now, did you know, we always agree, or, you know, with everything? We're not, obviously not, but man, he did so much for the legitimacy of Bigfoot and Sasquatch research.
And he's been sick actually for a while. He was down low, was on a hush kind of down low. I think he had brain cancer. But either way, I just, you know, prayers for Dr. Meldrum's family and the community. Frankly, it's that's a big loss. So just saying.
Well, guys, hey, I appreciate every single one of you guys Sound like I was crying there for a second.
Yeah, don't get emotional now.
Hang on a
He's getting
second.
weepy on us. We've touched him.
What was
We've moved
that?
Kind of choked me up inside.
Oh man.
him. Why did the Titanic theme pop in my head right there?
Yeah. Wow.
I'll never let go, Jack.
She lied.
Let go.
She
There's
definitely
plenty
had
of
room
spot.
on that door.
I mean, after this
I
time.
know.
Yes, there was definitely room for two. She just scooted over.
Wait, need the right
I
one,
wanted to say.
fellas.
Villain of the story.
Golly. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, I've had
Well-
this $500 million thing, and it could have done my family so great. I'm going to throw it in the ocean now.
Right.
Screw y'all.
Oh, jeez. This was fun, guys.
man.
Sadly, we were brought together for some terrible, a terrible event. But I think we sent out a good message. I think that was a big part of the show tonight. We got to break down some things. We could break down even some more things. Whoever wants to stay in the debriefing, feel free to. But we're gonna shut it down for any of the people that need to get some rest and stuff like that. But appreciate you guys very much. And if you want to do a little bit more recording after this little segment here, just stay where you're at, and we'll start it back up once everyone gets their files uploaded, and we can get into some stuff. So, but thank you guys so much. And whoever's heading out, please go ahead, plug your info and where they could find all your work.
I don't know if I'm the only old man, but they're breaking out the milk and cookies, Kyle says. So it's time for me to go, bro.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah, he gets up earlier than all of us, though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I'm up at 5 a.m. every day.
Maniac.
You're 40 minutes
Oh,
past
boy.
your bedtime, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell
I'm right there with
everybody
you,
this
Yeah.
before I leave. I think it's best for all of us to unplug from a little bit of politics. Watch a few football games. Watch
Amen.
my Vols. Hopefully beat the Georgia Bulldogs. So we'll see what happens there. But honestly, I think it's best to unplug this weekend. Love on your wife and kids
Amen.
if you've got them. Hang out with some buddies.
Amen.
Text a buddy. Tell them you love them. Stop. You're not a pussy if you tell your buddy you love him, and you need to. All right. Y'all be
Absolutely.
good. I do
love you,
love all
Doc.
y'all. Love you guys.
Yeah, man. You too. It's good meeting you.
Yeah, Travis,
Me
where
too.
can the audience, find your work?
Man, but the Sasquatch Awareness Project, Scott Carpenter YouTube channel, or T-Carp, Google any of those and you'll be able to find me. I'm nowhere near as good as any of these guys on the panel. I just got the chance to hang out and do the thing.
You have to believe.
Beginning to believe he's the chosen one.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Roll in the
Yeah,
Matrix.
as far as
we
me,
gotta
man,
break
it's
out.
a PrometheusLensPodcast.com. Check out the new site. And Kyle, his handiwork. If you need a new website and you think mine's pretty snazzy, which it is, and if you don't think so, then you just have really poor taste.
Then
holler
Justin
at
messed
Kyle
with it after I gave it to him. It's not me.
at the Word at War. But
Thanks, man.
yeah, Prometheus Lens Podcast, anywhere you consume content, you can find me there, and you can grab a copy of my book, The Epic of Esau, on my website from me, get a signed copy with some extra stuff, or if you just want to help Jeff Bezos get some more money, get it from him.
Boo.
Which is a super
Ooh.
awesome, really cool book, by the way. Made me think.
Well, thank
There
you.
you go.
Buy
Coming
it
from you,
now.
that's a big deal.
I have
There it
my
is, there it
copy
is.
as well.
Ha ha ha.
Shameless product placement.
Hey, I'm gonna give a little shout out to Justin. I think you said the other day you've passed 1,000 copies, right?
Yeah.
Damn,
That's
congrats.
amazing, dude.
Look at that.
Bravo.
Yeah, I told
Congratulations.
myself
Golf
if
clap,
I
I got
got
a
100
cheer button on here
first
somewhere.
year, I'd be happy with that. So that definitely, God
Are you on
surpassed
the
my
Conspiracies
expectations.
bestseller list?
Here we go. I don't know if you can hear this.
If any,
There we
Oh,
go.
that
if
is
anybody
awesome.
can do that, that's a good way to. That's a good thing to do. Let's like have a conspiracy show with all the different books and review everybody's different book.
Hey, there you go.
Trash. It's all
Boom.
trash. No. Yeah, dude. Docs is really good, man. You guys gotta buy it, man. I gotta
There you
buy
go,
it for
man.
crying out loud.
He's like, it's really good. I haven't read it yet.
It's really good. No, but I know Doc's content is good, so I know
We've had lots of conversations about it.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yep. And go check out, Doc's episode on Tinfoil Hat, the most recent one. What number was that?
I think it was 917.
Oh, nice.
Something like that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, right on, man. I got a lot of good feedback from that one. It's interesting. Just an interesting topic in general. You also talk about it in your book, so I won't say anymore. Buy the book. Check it out.
Do it now. Just
All right.
do it. Yeah.
So thank you guys. If that's everyone who's heading to bed because you're lame, that's fine. You'll still be invited next time.
Can I ask you a question? What do you
Takes
mean
a lot
by
of sleep to look
uploading
this
it?
good.
Look at this guy.
What's because I have to leave at 7:30. What's uploading the file? I can't just leave the chat.
Yeah, you could leave. Yeah, are you heading out right now?
No, at
Well, he's about
7:30.
to
But
stop
you
it.
said something about uploading. I don't know what that. I'm don't
it'll
it
do it
does it on-
automatically.
Never been. You've been on my show, Ben. You know how when we stop, it takes like 60 seconds or less for your video to upload. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, do I have to press a button?
You don't
or
have
does
to
it
do
just
anything.
No, he's gonna stop the
Okay.
recording and it'll upload.
All right, so we'll move into a little debrief, which we'll do for like 20 minutes or something like that.
Hey, can I
So-
say one final thing real
Yeah,
quick?
go ahead, buddy.
I think this is the most important thing to wrap up with. One of the things that I thought of today is, and I know this is a small comfort, but really a big comfort at the end of the day. Again, we judge a man by his fruits, right? We don't know their salvation. That's up to God. That's his job. But Charlie was producing fruits for the Lord. He was going around these campuses and he was talking about Jesus openly. We've talked about that during the show. And I think it is tremendous that, even though you can have something horrific happen at 31 years old and, you're alive 1 minute, and the last time you kiss your wife is the last time you kiss your wife, and the last time you hug your children is the last time you hug your children, much to Travis's point. But, he's with the Lord right now for all intents and purposes, what it looks like. And that is a tremendous peace that is going to be provided for his wife and his family. So, man, if you don't know Jesus, you never know when your time's coming. So just make sure that you get right, because things are not going to get better. They're going to get worse. I know that's a little doom and gloom, and even if they did get better, you can still get hit by a bus. You just never know when that final hour comes, when your hourglass runs out of sand. So just get right.
Amen.
Gotcha. Now, you know what, man? With that said there, I think I'm not even going to do a debrief. That was perfect, man. That was really good. Plus, I think my wife would be happy. Yeah, I can
mine
stay on
too.
here for yeah, I just saw your text. I'm seeing everyone's text, and I'm like, I'm going to go another hour and a half, guys.
Yeah.
But
Run it, baby.
yeah.
Let's go.
So, Kyle, real quick, man, just plug your stuff for the audience. And
Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, easiest way is just go to thewordатwarmedia.com. And you can find out everything you need to know about the show. And if you want to have a little gateway for the show, you go on to YouTube. You can check things out there, Rumble. You can go on to anywhere you want to listen. But while you're over at the website, click on school. That'll actually take you to my new school community. I'm really excited about that because we're actually going to build community the right way. No algorithmic control like we've talked about. You're going to get notified what you want to get notified. But, man, we're going to do some support things in there that are going to be really awesome, man. We're going to have prayer calls, and it's really going to be a true community of support. I'm really juiced about that. So even if you don't want to listen to the show and you just want to have support as a brother and sister, and you're not going to church anywhere, because a lot of Christians like us that are believing what we believe have been run out of the church, this is going to be a great place for you to go. So click on school while you're over there.
Man.
yeah, I'm glad
a whole
stoning is
episode
not a
on
thing
itself.
anymore.
It's a
Right.
whole
Amen.
episode.
But all right, Bennett.
Bennett Broadcasting Seeds, broadcastingseeds.com. I might have to give you a call, Kyle.
Yeah, dude.
But you can find me at broadcastingseeds.com or anywhere that podcasts are listened to, and YouTube. So I was messing with Rumble for a while, but it's like, I don't know, it's like a whole nother thing to do. So
That
we'll
it
see.
is.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, is it really worth it?
True. I got some views on there, but whatever, dude.
Right.
You know what,
Yes,
man?
no.
Here's the thing. It's a 40th the size of YouTube, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
And I know we're getting into stuff, but I'll make it quick. Here's the way I look at that. You know what? It's more eyes on the show. And if I've had messages, we probably all have had messages where somebody was saved by our show or brought them back to Christ, right? Brought
True.
them back to the Bible.
Amen. That's
So
right.
at the end of the day, the mission's still served, even if it's
Yeah.
smaller.
You're right. Okay.
There you go. I guilted you into it. You're welcome.
Now I'm going to get on Rumble. Rumble. Nice. Okay, great.
Right.
Ben, you're up next,
All right.
brother.
You can find me at End of the World News across Instagram and all audio platforms. It's End of the World News podcast on BitChute. I guess I'll leave it with this. In a sea of darkness, let's stay rooted in spirit and be that light.
Amen.
And the only way to fight the agenda, in my opinion, is try to take a page out of Jesus's playbook and let's try to glorify the Father in everything that we do.
Amen,
If we put that first and foremost in our hearts and in our minds, I think we'll leave the world a better place than we left it.
Well said.
Right on, guys. Well, I enjoyed this a lot, man. I want to try and do this more often. And, you guys will be either hearing from me or getting a text message, something from me. Hopefully we won't have to meet under these kinds of circumstances in the future, but we'll have some other fun topics to get into. I appreciate every single one of you. I love every one of you guys. And, I just appreciate your time and giving me the opportunity to have an awesome panel on. So, but folks, if you're still with us, we appreciate you. We love you. And you want to support the show, it's free. Hit that subscribe button over on YouTube. Like the show, share it with your friends. Drop a comment down below about some of the things we got into or some of the things we didn't mention. It's really the only place where I get to engage with my audience directly. So drop a comment. And, head on over to the audio platforms as well. Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, those three will do. But we are on pretty much everything while you're there. 5-star reviews only, folks. It's what supports the show the most. Drop a comment over there as well. I get to the comments when I can over there. Hit that follow button, hit the notifications bell, and you'll be notified whenever we drop episodes. Predominantly on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, but sometimes we'll add another one in the mix, just like we are doing today. But appreciate you. We love you. We're going to see you next time.